Hey, John. George Stoya, Center Scoop. What has these past few weeks been for you guys offensively, and especially you reviewing maybe your season, but also just working on fundamentals? What has maybe the last few weeks done for you?
There's been a lot of self-scout, a lot of looking at stuff that we're good at, stuff that we struggle at, and stuff that other teams know, if there's any tips or anything, and just getting better every day. I think Coach Venables puts it in the right light. Like, we're always on a rise. It's week, I don't even know, 16, 17, I don't know. There's a lot of football. We played a lot of football, but you're always getting better, and there's people can say, oh, it hasn't clicked in 14 weeks, it's not going to, whatever. It's one day at a time. You get better, and you get better with the people around you.
Okay, we'll stay next to George. Mason.
Mason Young, Tulsa World. John, you talked about when you got here always wanting the opportunity to play on a big stage like this. Can you kind of put into perspective what it's meant to you to be here this season, playing for this team in the SEC, and to have this opportunity in front of you?
Yeah, this is a dream come true. I mean, this is everything I could ever ask for as a kid, and I kind of told myself that like a year ago. I've prayed for this opportunity. I've hoped for it. I've worked for it, and I'm glad it's here. I'm not going to take it for granted. I haven't taken the work for granted, the preparation, and it's awesome.
Jenny.
Ole Miss game on. You guys have had 5 pass plays of 39 yards or longer, and a few of them have been big cross-country plays, 80, 70, that sort of thing. But the amount of, say, 25 to 39 is pretty small. I think it's maybe 4 since that time. That intermediate stuff, how do you maybe unlock that, and how important could that be against Alabama and maybe moving forward?
You just keep calling them, keep trusting them and trusting that everybody's going to be in their spot. And I think when you call plays like that, you can't just call them every play. There's spots for them. And then I got to do a better job just if it's not there, just checking it down and just check it down, like play the next play. And I'm learning more about playing quarterback every week and when to take a chance and when to just play the next play, And I think it just comes with that, getting better every week and just, they'll click.
Okay, let's go second row, Ryan Chapman.
Ryan Chapman's just aside. The first half of the game was kind of weird for you guys as an offense because you went up early and felt like it was maybe a little bit more ball control type thing. But what did you still learn from going back and watching your performance and how you guys can improve despite the game plan kind of being a little safer?
Yeah, I'd say there's always little details that you can do better to make it more efficient. There's a lot of third downs we just didn't execute. I think that's the biggest thing we took from the game. And I think ball security is always important. I think it's at a premium right now in the playoff and then the end of the year. And, I don't always do a great job of it, obviously, but it's always on our mind. And so I don't think we were being passive, but I think there's just more detail that we need to be clearer with.
Third row inside aisle, James.
James Hale, KC Sports Radio. John, some of the players said that you're spending extra time after practice throwing with your receivers, and you probably do that all the time, but we don't know about it. But talk about how much more confidence that gives you, whatever you guys are working on, that it'll work on Friday night.
Yeah, I think practice brings confidence, and I believe that my whole life, and just being able to do it, getting back to where I was, and I mean it's still a battle, it happened, and I'm always battling for it, being real detailed in the way I throw, and every time the ball comes on my hand, feeling it the right way, and I think doing it to a point where it's just unconscious. You can throw a route, and it's going to be right on their face mask. You don't even have to think about it. So I think that's a big key, so you believe it when it happens on Saturday or Friday night.
We'll stay back there with Cliff.
Yeah, Cliff Rudd, Associated Press. I know you like touchdowns, but you got Tate Sandell. How critical and how important, can you put in perspective just how much he's meant to the offense and just to the team overall?
Yeah, he's been huge. I mean, it takes a lot of pressure off of us. We want to score, and like you said, I like touchdowns. I do, and everybody does. But sometimes it just doesn't work out. They have a good plan on third down, or we don't execute, and I know, like, we run off the field, he's gonna do a good job, and him and the holder and the snapper, and they always do a great job. I'm really proud of him, first of all, for his award. I mean, he put in the work for it. He came here, and all he did was work for it. He's been a great teammate, and I love that kid, and I'm glad he's doing so well. But he's been huge for this team.
So left side, first row, Josh.
Josh McDaniel, OU Daily. John, from the very first time you met Brent Venables to now, what has really stuck with you? And just as you go this path ahead, playoffs, what really resonates with you?
Yeah, I think everybody says his passion and his intensity. I think I'll remember that forever. And he makes me a better person, though. I think the way he leads is I've learned from it since I've been here. He leads through Christ and through being more like Jesus every day. And that's all you can wish for in a man and a leader, because that's what we're all trying to do. And I think another thing that's so important is his detail. Like he's so detailed in the way his defense, like the scheme and how every play matters so much. And I think that's something that some kids might take for granted, and it's just another play. But he doesn't let it happen, and we don't let it happen because it comes from him.
Stay there, Bob.
Brisbane Sooner Scoop. John, is OU and yourself making the playoff, is that validation that was the right move for you, or was that just an added bonus?
It's definitely an added bonus. I think this has been the right place for a long time, and I'm around the right people. Not everything has gone perfect, but all right. Not everything has gone perfect, and it never does. But I know I'm in the right spot because I have the right people around me who still have my back, and that's all that matters.
Okay, let's go to second row, Brandon.
Brandon Drumbo, you insider. John, what's it been like just watching such a youthful, talented offensive line, and Foj, EPL, Fasusi, but what's it been like watching them grow? What's your role been in that? And how has the last 2.5 weeks been so beneficial to them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've done a great job, first of all. I mean, it's so impressive. I didn't play until my third year in college. I couldn't imagine playing in this league in my first year. I mean, they're doing a great job, and they don't flinch. I think that's what's so impressive. Like, they just go after it, and they're like, all right, coach, I'll do it. Like, it's awesome. Foj took some reps at center because they want him to learn it a little bit, and it's like, whoa, like, he's doing it. Like, it's, not for any reason, but, just trying things out, but he's doing it, and he's just so good at football, and they're both, all three of them are so good, so talented, and they're doing a great job. I think just me bringing them encouragement, confidence, and I think that's all you can wish for. Maybe a couple things here and there. I don't know a whole lot about the O-line. I know where they're sliding and stuff, but they're doing a great job.
Okay, go ahead, Curtis.
Yeah, Curtis Fitzpatrick from the Sports Animal. Looks like you and Jaron Kanek had a good connection in that LSU game.
Mm-hmm.
How important is it getting him back involved in the offense and you guys having that connection?
Yeah, he's been huge. I think he does a great job of getting open, and then run after catch is just awesome. You can see he always makes a guy miss and gets a couple extra yards. I mean, getting him just taking the easy throws sometimes and letting him run is huge, and I think it's important for me to do that.
Same row, Kerry.
Kerry Murdoch from Center Scoop. The run game, obviously guys haven't been healthy. Have you noticed teams playing you a little bit differently, down the stretch here, knowing that maybe you guys aren't fully healthy at running back?
No, I wouldn't say so. I mean, I know since last year I've been a key. My run ability, and any running quarterback is always a key. And I mean, they're gonna chase me out of my fakes and run, and there's always going to be an extra guy on me. And I mean, that's normal. I don't think it's for any reason of health or any other than I'm able to run the ball.
How much easier does that make the offense when you do have the running game going, though?
Yeah, I mean, that's football. Like, you establish the run, it helps obviously to throw, and you see all these offenses around college football. They do a great job of it, and I think we do a good job, and it's football makes it easier.
Okay, John, we've got a question via Zoom. It's going to be from Sean McFarland with the Dallas Morning News. Sean, you can go ahead. Sean, you can go ahead.
Hey, John, just kind of touched on it earlier. Talked about this being the place you wanted to be, playing at a establishment like this. I'm just curious for you after this season, what has it been like, I guess, being the starting quarterback in Oklahoma and the lineage of quarterbacks that have come through here, and whether it's the spotlight or the pressure, what has it been like navigating that for a full season and getting to this point?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I've learned a lot about myself and about what it's like, to be a quarterback at this stage, and it's everything I've dreamed of. It obviously hasn't gone perfect, but it's been great. And just to be somebody to put on the jersey and throw a ball for East University has been a huge honor.
All right. That's all our time. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Brisbane Sooner Scoop. Jaden, just want to ask you about David Stone and what it's been like. He kind of waited patiently through last season, and this year's been the breakout season that he was hoping for, just watching him shine.
It was kind of fun. It was kind of, amazing to see that growth. I saw it firsthand, just the extra things he was doing that he didn't do before. So if that was, staying later for meetings on his own, just going over film on his own, knowing the plays on the back of his hand, just getting comfortable. And seeing that was amazing. He deserved to have the season he had. It just showed all the work that he did off season. Even when it came to reps as running, he was like the first guy every time. So everything was deserved that he had coming. So it was really amazing to see.
Brendan, OU Insider. Jayden, kind of along those lines, just the interior, the defensive tackle spot for you guys as a whole, seems like the depth has just been a really important part of this defense all year. Just for you guys on the interior, what stood out to you about the way you guys played throughout the season, the way you guys grew as a group?
I say this a lot, but, we're really tight. Guys coming in like Dom last year, there was no fall off. There was no, we accepted him instantly. So we became, probably the closest group, I would say, but yeah, it's just a bunch of guys wanting to work, they have their why, they're hungry, especially our older guys, so yeah, I love working with them, and yeah. Yeah.
Okay, we'll come to the second row, Brandon Drum.
Brendan Drum, OU Insider. Jayden, you were kind of banged up a little bit the first time around this year against Alabama. This will be your third time to play them in just a matter of years. What's your expectation for this game? And just does this game kind of give you validation of choosing Oklahoma?
No, the game has nothing to do with choosing Oklahoma. I chose Oklahoma because faith, family football was being preached throughout everyone there. So, but I was a couple banged up here and there. Not how I wanted the season to go, but just unfortunate events happen, and you never know what happened. But I'd say I'm very blessed to be in the position I am. A college football playoff. Pretty sure that's every kid's dream. So yeah.
Okay, let's go to Kerry.
Kerry Murdoch, Sooner Scoop. Jayden, you talked about the closeness of this team. Why do you think that it's spread like it has to so many players on this defense, that you guys get along and that you all kind of hold each other accountable?
To be honest, I think it's just our goal. Everyone, I feel like, in my room and especially other people's room, everyone's tight. Just their why, this is a big gateway for a lot of young athletes, to make it out and potentially help their family and things like that. So, especially with having everything on your back and things like that, I'd say it makes us tighter. Just a group of guys that just are hungry, willing to work. And then off season, Smitty can get pretty hard on you, and there's no one out there but your guys. You're running down and back, you're doing 110s, you're doing everything. So there's no one else to lean on. So you're really killing yourself with your boys, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the right side, first row, Jenny.
Hey, Jayden, Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. This defense, you guys have a couple transfers, but in large part, this is a group that guys come in as high schoolers, develop under Brent. I know you're one of the younger guys in that you're only in your second year, but I'm curious what that looks like from the inside to have guys that have, played under Brent, maybe their whole career. Just what does that mean for this defense?
It means a lot for this defense, especially young guys that come in and develop, because that's what he does. He develops, there's tweets out there like 3-star, come in, take over. T1, we've seen it in the making. Even transfer guys, even Owen Heineke, potentially a lacrosse player that came in and, he's had an outstanding year, and so, the development here is amazing, and it's crazy what he can do, and it's just, yeah.
Okay, let's go on the aisle. George?
Yeah, Jaden, George Joyce here, Scoop. Just wondering, what has Grayson Halton meant to the defensive tackle room? It feels like his veteran presence, he's one of those guys that Jenny's talking about. He stayed all 4 years. What has his leadership and experience meant to that room?
That's him and Dom, the older guys in our room are the leaders of our room. They really take it, they take our room to the highest it can be. They just, they lead us to get our mind right, get us physically. If a guy's slacking, there's no fall off. Like, even if it's one of them slacking, like, it's really just the leadership he has and he came with. He's always had it. He's always been the vocal leader, even last year, even years before. So, he's a crucial role in the DT room, and I'm just blessed to say that's my brother. So.
Then we'll go to the second row. Let's go to Ryan and then Tom.
Ryan Chapman, Suicide Side. Talking to Eli and Owen, as good as you guys played defensively in the first game, they still said you left a lot on the table. When you look at the defensive line, what are some of those things that you guys feel like you can make big improvements in the second game?
There's a lot of stuff we need to work on. No one ever is perfect, but probably communication, pad level. It can literally go down the list of false steps, simple things like that we need to work on. And yeah, we've definitely emphasized that. We're definitely working to get better on every aspect that we were lacking. But yeah, so we've been improving and just working on that type of stuff.
Tom.
Tom Braden, Sinners Illustrated. Jaden, you mentioned you were banged up down the final month of the season. Just how beneficial were these couple weeks off for you from a physicality standpoint, and just how difficult was it kind of managing and navigating that injury down the stretch?
It was very beneficial. 3 weeks off. I mean, not really off, but to recover. I think it was beneficial for the whole team. Not only just to recover our body, but also our mind. And mentally just recover. So, and then dealing with the injury, I got to play no matter what. So it don't even really affect me. Just continue to do treatment here and there and do what the team needs. So.
First time you played, and you got close at Oklahoma State, obviously. What does this game mean to you as a kid from Oklahoma to play in your home state, host the game?
Yeah.
How excited are you for this weekend?
I'm really excited. Growing up in Oklahoma, you want to show all the other states that we produce a lot of good players, and being able to represent the great state of Oklahoma, on this big stage and the playoffs, the college football playoffs, it means a lot. It's meant a lot for just growing up and seeing everybody get to play in, and it's going to be real fun.
Gary Murdoch from Center Scoop. Kendall, I'm sure you come in here, guys know about you a little bit, but
yeah.
You go out and practice. What was it about this team that kind of, you remember a moment where you felt like, okay, I'm a part of this group now?
It was after the first winter workout. Going through hard times with guys, and when I first got here, it was kind of hard trying to embrace the culture of OU. Because we went back and forth so many years, and so just when I first got here, I didn't expect the guys to take me in like they did, and become my brothers like they did. They reached out to me first, and wanted to hang out outside of football and ask me about my family and everything, and we just joked about the games that we used to play against each other. So I think that was the biggest thing, being able to joke about the games that we used to play against each other and not argue about it or go back and forth.
Was there a first contact you remember, or a guy that you were already close with when you got here, maybe?
Me and Gentry Williams, we got recruited together. We came on a couple of visits in high school together. So when I was on my visit, I called him and talked to him. And then Trace Ford was here last year. So I talked to him during the recruiting process, and he told me how it was here, the good and the bad. I told him to keep it 100 with me. So, being able to know those guys really helped me in the decision making.
Yeah, Kendall, Davis Cordova, Transcript. I'm sure you're aware of OU's history in the playoff. Just
yeah.
Couple trips, no wins. Is there added weight for you guys to, maybe be the first team here to get a college football playoff win?
Added weight, I wouldn't say that. I feel like we've had the chip on our shoulder since the beginning of the season. So everything's been hard this season. This game is going to be hard to win. It was hard to win all the games that we did win. So it's just another football game, and being able to prepare for it is fun. And being able to have a couple extra weeks with the guys, it's going to be fun. And we just we keep winning, we keep playing together. That's kind of how it is. And, this is a brotherhood. It's sad that this is we only have 4 games left. So it's so we keep winning, we keep playing together. That's the bright side.
Go to the right side, first row, Barry, and then Jenny.
Yeah, Barry Trammell, Tulsa World. Just curious, when you talked to Trace, what did he say was the good and what did he say was the bad?
He says they ran a lot more than they did at OSU, but he said Coach Schmitty would love me when I first got here. So I think those are both 100% correct.
Hey, Kendall, Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. This defense that you're on, you're kind of a rarity as a transfer. There's a lot of guys that have been here since they came in as high school guys. I'm curious what you think the benefit to that is, sort of having a defense built from within in an era when that doesn't really happen. And maybe if you've sensed why it's been that way, that guys have stayed and maybe, spent years not playing and then, stayed to get that opportunity.
Yeah, that's helped me. Being able to come in and kind of be the only guy I knew was good. You don't want to go into a defense, especially Coach Venable's defense, with 10 guys they're all learning. So I've been able to learn from the linebackers, the safeties, the D-line. Everybody's been here, and they just kind of dumb it down for me. When I first got here, it was kind of hard learning the defense and trying to play a lot of positions, but being able to talk to the guys that's been here for 4 years and know what Coach Venables talks about. And Coach Venables would say a sentence, like when I first got here, he would say half a sentence, and the whole defense would say the rest of the sentence, and I was just looking around like I never heard that before. But now I'm able to do that, and be with the guys and being around the guys and just having fun and being around Coach Venables and Coach John and Coach Goodwin, guys like that, it really helped me.
Do you have, sorry to Mike, but do you have a sense of why guys have been willing to maybe wait their turn or wait for that opportunity and not transfer somewhere else?
Yeah, the brotherhood isn't like this at a lot of places. The grass isn't greener in a lot of places, and you go somewhere and you're just another number. So I feel like being raised in this type of defense with Coach Venables, and he cares about you as a human. So I feel like that was played a part in some of the guys staying, and they trusted the process. It wasn't good for them in 2022 because Coach Venables just got there, but they trusted him, and it played out good for everybody that stayed.
If you do have a follow-up question, let's use the mic. We'll get it to you. Second row on the far end, Brady.
Brady Trantham, Sooners on SI. Kendall, going back to the week going into the LSU game, you'd mentioned that game was going to be special for you because it was going to be the last game you played in the state of Oklahoma. So how special is it to have an extra last game in the state of Oklahoma?
It's going to be real special now. It's the playoffs, and it's in December. My birthday's tomorrow. It's going to be a big week, so it means a lot. I'm trying to take it all in, and, it's sad because it's the end of my college career, and this is the last game that I'll play in Oklahoma, my last football game. So being able to have family come to the games and everything has been such a blessing. But it's time to move on after this, and we still have 3 more games after that. So I try not to think about it so much. That'll be my last Oklahoma game, but it is what it is.
Okay, let's go third row, James.
Kendall, this is supposed to be such a complicated defense. Was it when you got here and you found out? And on a week like this, when Brent gets to scheme for a team and get some extra time, has it been kind of fascinating what he comes up with?
Yeah. When I first got here, I was kind of like, I've never seen nothing like this. He knows plays and he knows what offenses like to do and tendencies and everything. And then when you get to a couple weeks like this and be able to dial up some plays, it's kind of fascinating just being able to be the guy that he's talking to and telling the plays to. And it's fun. It's hard sometimes, being able to take the practice film to the field the same day. But it's a challenge that, you love. You love the challenge, and if you get it right, you'll be really successful.
Okay, we'll come to the left side, Bob, and then Jesse.
Persbillo, Sooner Scoop. Kendall, just want your thoughts on being able to watch what Reggie Powers has been able to do, and what's your role in trying to get him better?
I love that guy, man, and that's my little brother. And I try to help him. You know, mentally, I played a lot of football, and I know like sometimes he's a young guy. He just started playing a lot this year, and I help him out a lot. I try to at least help him out, and I just tell him what I see on the field, and he tells me what he sees. And he's a hard hitter, so he has a high motor. He's just always ready to go. He's ready to go. So I mean, just having a young guy like that I can trust in to go in when I get tired, and he can go in and make a play. It feels good to be able to do that and trust him. And he practiced hard, and he knows the plays, and he studies extra, and he waits. He goes after practice and works on his man technique, and he wants to learn. He's not frustrated at times. He's always willing to learn, and he's always asking questions, and I try to help him as much as I can.
Jesse?
Jesse Green, OU Insider. Kendall, you mentioned you guys could have potentially, up to 3 more games after this weekend. So just from a player's perspective, how do you handle kind of the next few weeks? How much more important is rest and recovery? Do you make sure you stay in a rhythm on the field? Just how does that look like?
The rhythm is the biggest part, because school is not being in session now. It's the finals and holidays coming up. You have to stay focused. It's not normal to be playing right now unless you're getting ready for a ball game. So you only get this chance one time in your lifetime. So make it count. You don't want to look back and be like, I wish I was locked in more. So I feel like that's the biggest thing, trying to stay locked in, and you have to keep working on your body. And, we've been playing football for a long time with fall camp and everything. So you still got to work on your body even more, watch more film. You have more time to watch film on teams, a lot more games. So I feel like it's a mental part, but it's also physical with your body and everything. So it's fun being able to do that, and it's rare. So we knew that it was going to take this, so that's what that is.
Hey, Tate, Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. Can you just talk a little bit about the ceremony on Friday, what that was like to win the Groza and just be in that space?
It was really exciting, having all my friends and family, my closest people around me. I mean, they're the reason why all this happened, and to be able to share that moment with them, it was really special.
Next to Jenny, we'll go to Barry.
Barry Trammell, Tulsa World. What's a kicker's mentality when he's on the sideline? His offense is moving the ball. I know you want him. You want him to score a touchdown, but you also want, hey, let's stop right here. Let me kick a 55-yard field goal.
Yeah,
I'm serious. How does those? I'm sure both of those things are what you want. How do you balance those out mentally in the middle of a game?
I just try to just stay as neutral as possible, and I enjoy watching the game, like watching football. So I just really just sit there, and when we kind of get close to that range, then I'll get 1 or 2 in the net, and then I just go back to watching. And if it gets that third down, third medium, then I'm kind of on a knee next to my coordinator and kind of just ready for my opportunity if it's called. If not, I'm never like, dang, I really wanted to kick that. It really doesn't matter. Like, in a good way, I just want the team to succeed, and for myself as well.
Okay, let's come first row, George.
Hey, Tate, George Stoya, Soonerscoop.com. Does anything make you nervous? Like, is there anything? Because it doesn't seem like kicking is something that makes you nervous.
I mean, there are nerves, but if someone tells you that they're not nervous, they're probably lying to you. But, it's just the amount of preparation that we've done during the week that, stacks that confidence and just what allows you to go out on the field and operate at a high level. And I think that how hard we make practice, it makes the games not as hard. And I think that's important.
Secondly, I was told a story about how you used to sneak onto your high school football field to kick balls in the middle of the night. Could you walk us through how you started doing that?
So my dad works at the school, so I would just take his keys and go out to the field. And I guess people started to, a couple of my buddies, my buddy's dad is the police in the police department. He said he drove by. He's like, I don't know who that is, and he figured out it was me, and he would kind of mess with me about it every now and then. But I know it sounds so cliche, but I wanted to just get a little bit better, like every day. And if I could do that, I know not everybody else is doing that, and it wasn't for attention. Like, nobody knew I was doing it. That was just purely for me. And I'm just one of those guys where I need the 10,000 rep rule just to get better, and that was just the way I had to do it.
Let's go second row, Tom.
Hey, Tate, Tom Green, Sooners Illustrated. I know this is your first year here, but just what is it about Coach Deacon's approach that has just made this special teams unit so good across the board this season?
I think he understands that it's a player's game, and the scheme that he equips us with it works every time. And he kind of takes the mentality of you don't put a saddle on a Mustang and just lets us work. And it's just, when you don't put a limit on your players, our full potential can show out. And he and Coach Venables as well, they take that true into the team.
Third row, Cliff.
Yeah, Cliff Brunt, Associated Press. So you had a really good year last year, but obviously a great historic year this year. Are there one or two things that you can point to between last year and this year that elevated your game to the level that it's at now?
I think Coach V's confidence in me this year, he said it whenever I got here, when we were in fall camp and I had like a 61-yarder. Normally people would punt in there, but he threw me out there and said, I'm not going to put a limit on you. We're going to see what you can do. And that I just kind of fed off of that and just, I knew what I could do, and I knew he knew what I can do, and that helps me a lot.
Okay, left side, second row, Brandon.
Brandon Drumbo, you insider. Just like you talked about, you've had a really good career, but this year in general, can you kind of 30,000-foot view, I know you still have games to play, but 30,000-foot view, what this has meant to you just this season, the goals, the dreams that you've accomplished at this point?
It's truly just a culmination of everything that, where I started, how far I've come. I walked on at UTSA. If you were to tell me I'd be here, in 3 years, I'd laugh at you. I mean, there was a point where me and my dad had that conversation, and man, the money is running out. Like, we're going to have to, think about some things, and, I'm not going to put my family in a financial burden. So I was almost done, and just thinking back to that and to what I was able to do this year, it's there's nothing sweeter.
Okay, we'll go back to the right side, second row, Brady.
Two questions, Tate. I mean, one, are you tired now answering questions about your pants?
I think it's fair to say that, yeah. But it's all good stuff.
And secondly, when the team is starting to stall, maybe like in field goal range, does everybody else on the sideline just kind of leave you to your process, or are they like dabbing you up and hyping you up? Like what's the vibe like when it's almost field goal time?
I'll have guys come up to me and kind of just look at me and like just give me a little head nod, and then they know what the deal is. I tell them, it's not a thing until you make it a thing. So, there's nothing going on in my head except just if I get an opportunity, great. I know what I can do with my opportunity. If not, somebody else is going to go make a play. And if we're too far out, I know Grayson's going to make a play and pin him inside the 10. So it's just, how much that we value playing complementary football and just operating at that level. That's where we're at.
Let's go back to the third row, Cliff.
Yeah, Cliff Brunt, Associated Press. So a lot of times with kickers and punters, they're kind of off to the side a little bit compared to the rest of the team. Mm-hmm. But Coach has talked consistently about how you've been a leader for the team overall. Why is that important to you, and how intentional have you been in terms of being a part of the whole team and carrying on that role?
I've always been like, everyone would tell me like in my old school, oh, you're not like a normal kicker or whatever. It's like, well, I'm just a football guy. Like I enjoy this stuff, and I'm not trying to be somebody that I'm not. I just enjoy, getting the guys going because I need them to have my back. And I know they do, but the way that they do it here, it makes it a lot easier for me because I don't have a rope around my neck. I can operate freely with no weight on my shoulders.
Okay, let's stay in the third row, James.
James Hale, OKC Sports Radio. Curious about your relationship with your holder. I mean, he's the backup punter. He's starting punter at the beginning of the year, and he got hurt. Mm-hmm. But talk about that relationship. They've never changed, and you guys seem to be working really well. But how important is that?
It's very important. I can't tell you the amount of reps because whenever I got in the summer, we were working around the clock to get this thing. I think the first thing he said to me is, "This is my first time holding lefty." I was like, "Oh, great! Thank you for telling me that." But he's a great guy and he loves his craft, and he has accepted his role at the highest level he can, which makes my job easier, as well as Ben. We're all three very invested in being the best we can be, and when like-minded people are surrounded by like-minded people, it tends to be a lot easier. There's no friction or stuff like that. We'll have our off days, but we'll be there. We'll be back ready tomorrow, ready to work, and that's kind of mentality. It's making things a lot smoother.
Back to the second row, Brian.
Ryan Chapman, on the side. You've got another year left. Are you coming back next year? Is that a decision that you guys are going to make after the season? Have you thought about that?
Not really. I'm kind of just focused on playing Alabama on Friday, but all those questions will be talked about with all my guys after the season.
Any more questions? All right, thank you, Tate.
Thanks,
Thank you, everybody.
Congrats.